All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Tech Still Work By, where I check back on the recommendations I've made on Friday on my Tech Work Buying newsletter and sort of go in detail over uh, different recommendations I made, discuss why they're a good or a bad idea, are they compared to each other. As well as let's see if those recommendations held up. Sometimes I recommend something and the next day stock is gone, so sometimes those recommendations don't always hold up the way I thought they would. So let's get over that. um, mm, mm, all right. So, market overall. The average price of tech went up by quite a bit, as we can see here. It's still pretty much holding up over the average for the last few months. Yeah, that is indeed the day for Boxing Day. Alright, so the average went up by how much? So it was under 100, under 1200 yesterday. So today went up by $60 pretty much. It was very low yesterday, however. I would almost say um, almost suspiciously so. Didn't know exactly what was explaining such a low price yesterday, given that, well, there were quite a few rebates out there. They were a little bit less generous than usual, though. So I have a hard time explaining why it was so low yesterday in the first place, but yeah, trend wise, it's pretty much on average compared to what it was during the last few days. I've seen a lot of stock go out of well, a lot of stock go out as well during the last few days. I'm pretty sure that retailers are currently making space for new stock right now, which explains a little bit why the ride is so rough on average price of tech right now. So if I go and look at the accessories I recommended yesterday, if you're just looking for a simple, no frills really keyboard and mouse combo, which is wireless, that you can use on your either on your laptop, make yourself a proper workplace for those times where you have to work for a prolonged period, then that would definitely help with that, especially if you find how would I say, a stand for your laptop to make it a little bit more comfortable. Because yeah, laptops usually I recommend limiting your usage session to under 13 minutes roughly. So with something like that, you can pretty easily set yourself a spot on a table or a desk, and maybe extend that to 60 minutes if you want to before you take breaks, uh, Otherwise, this MMO gaming mouse from Logitech is still at a pretty interesting price. I see it's still holding up from the price it was at yesterday. I do have that one, used it for quite a while. And I thought that those thumb buttons would bother me a lot more than they actually did. It's a pretty comfortable mouse, especially in my case. The reason I stopped using it is that I have 4 to 5 monitors laid up in front of me, and that's a long way to drag a mouse. So often it's a little bit more convenient to either use a trackball or use a mouse with a pretty high sensitivity or one I can lift fairly well. Lifting the mouse with this one was definitely not an issue. Was much less of an issue than I thought. Just didn't bring me the benefits of having a full-size mouse for my hand to rest on as much as I thought it would. But yeah, it's a great mouse, especially if programmable buttons is something that you're interested in getting for yourself. Those things are definitely very it's definitely convenient, and I thought I would find them annoying. Actually, they were useful. So definitely worth checking, especially if you need all those extra buttons for your gaming sessions. Otherwise, this ultra wide screen is at a pretty attractive price right now. So yeah, if you wanted to, yes, Zotarek, this is live, and welcome to the stream. And yeah, this screen here is yeah, with a wide screen like this one, it's technically 1080p because it's 1080 pixel high, but yeah, with that wide form factor, it's pretty interesting for either multitasking, having multiple documents open at once, or for gaming, especially if you want to have a wider field of view. Obviously, you will want you're going to see the benefit of that, especially playing in games with you know, a FOV slider. If there's no FOV sliders, you might find yourself a little bit restricted there. Because yeah, you definitely want that wide view angle for those monitors, especially when playing in full screen. For smartphones, yesterday I only picked two models. I was a little bit hesitant picking up older or older models or refurbished ones, simply because there's a point where you stop seeing upgrades on smartphones, and then you start running into security issues, or even just in terms of software, you get left behind, and yeah, that kind of sucks. So yesterday my two pick were the OnePlus 6 on the Android side of things. And as I described in Tech Word Buying, well, the OnePlus 6 is, well, it's the Android approach to smartphones. So it's more open, it's more versatile as well. Different apps can collaborate with each other a little bit easier. And yeah, since the OnePlus 6 has a lot of memory, you can switch from one app to the other pretty quickly. If you're happier with the Google side of the ecosystem, this works really well for that. Still think the OnePlus 6, I'm less attracted to that model than, let's say, the OnePlus 5T that I actually have in the house. It's my wife's phone currently. Simply because, yeah, I'm not a big fan of having glass backs on those. I was part of the original, well, I think original, experiment with the Nexus 4, and I was one of a few people I know that didn't break the back on a smartphone with a glass back. So seeing that making a comeback, I don't think is, well, it's not great news, to be honest. I prefer more durable stuff, so that's definitely one of the downsides the OnePlus 6 has. I would definitely put a case on this one. The other downside is got a notch, which sure, you cover more surface with your screen that way, but you waste pixels, and that's, yeah. Right now, it's it's still a recommendation simply because that's what we currently have. Everybody's putting a notch, everybody's putting a glass back nowadays, so it's kind of par for the course, sadly. But yeah, OnePlus 6, still prefer the 5T over the 6, but sadly they no longer sell the 5T. So that's currently my recommendation still on the Android side. I have to check if something new comes along that I feel better about, but right now I'm a little bit in an holding pattern. A OnePlus 6 kind of holds the best of non-ideal situation right now. And yeah, as usual, OnePlus delivers pretty good value on a pretty affordable phone. In terms of software, you can run quite a bit. And yeah, definitely a powerful phone. And as I said, with that extra RAM in there, multitasking and switching from one app to the other, definitely going to be a pretty well adapted phone for that sort of thing. Otherwise, if you prefer the iOS environment, like Apple's ecosystem, so to speak, and all the apps in there, iPhone 8 would probably be my pick personally. So you avoid the notch, you still have a fingerprint sensor on this one. So there are several reasons to pick the iPhone 8 over the iPhone 10 still. And right now it kind of sits at a pretty attractive price point in the whole market right now. So yeah, basically it's the difference. Do you prefer Apple or do you prefer Google? And you go along with that. iPhone 8, you will definitely have a lot more accessories available too. So if you like to get fancy cases and stuff like that, there's going to be probably around 50 different cases available for the iPhone 8 for each case available for the OnePlus 6. So definitely, if you enjoy accessorizing your phone, you're going to want to go for the iPhone 8 as well. You also benefit from a longer battery life than what the OnePlus 6 is able to delivering, especially with the higher resolution they picked for their screen. And it's available in several different places, so yeah, it's very easy to pick. Fortnite still only available for iOS at this point. We're still waiting for it to come to Android. So if you must play Fortnite on your phone, you will definitely want to pick the iPhone 8 right now instead of its Android counterpart I presented earlier. Otherwise, for tablets, I had a few interesting picks last week, although it's pretty standard fare for tech worth buying. Fire HD 8 is still my pick for a low-cost tablet for mostly media consumption, so reading ebooks, it's very well adapted to that. Watching videos, it's pretty good at that. Its only weakness on watching videos is you have limited access to YouTube. It's not that you cannot watch everything, or even I've got YouTube Premium myself right now, and still have full access to that, no ads and everything else that come with YouTube Premium. I get full access to that, but I cannot get the official YouTube app for it, so I don't get offline viewing, I don't get playing music with screen off. I also cannot cast a YouTube video to my television because it's not the official app, because, well, Amazon and Google are in a little bit of a squabble right now. So that's one of the downsides of it. But otherwise, Netflix, no problem there. Prime Video, obviously, no problem there. Twitch plays beautifully on it. It's not a full HD screen on this tablet, but for $100, honestly, the sound quality is pretty good. Battery life is really good, and yeah, I've got no complaint about the screen personally, especially considering how cheap this tablet is. So you can get that one online from Amazon, no problem. And yeah, I've been running that myself. And yeah, here's a few things you can expect to be able to run on it. And well, Minecraft is available on the Amazon store, so is Monument Valley 2. It's not a very powerful tablet, however, so it's not where you're going to get the best performance, but for listening to music, watching videos, reading ebooks. It even has a competent web browser on it, so you have most of your options available to you that way. Otherwise, if you aspire to be a little bit more productive on your tablet, then I would go for this convertible Chromebook from Acer. It's not as cheap as it's ever been, but in the pricing history of this device, the lowest point were definitely marked by there were secondhand, there were refurbished models. And in this case, we start from we're looking at a new listing instead of refurbished one. Most retailers seem to have run out of refurbished model for this. So yeah, fairly capable Chromebook, obviously by Chromebook standards, and it's able to run both Chrome OS, so you get the full Chrome browser that you get on your desktop with all the features, bells and whistles and all of that, not the mobile version. And you can also run Android if you want to run, let's say, games or apps, anything like that. So you get something that can be used either as a big tablet or a small laptop. So if you're the kind of person that sees a keyboard as a plus even for tablet, it's definitely worth considering there. And yeah, for the price, you get quite a bit of value on that. It's still not a full laptop with quote-unquote full OS, but you get access to quite a few things, including the mobile versions of Microsoft Word and Excel. So where to look? But if gaming on the go is your main focus, then by all means, my pick would be the Nintendo Switch, which delivers pretty good performance. I hear raving reviews everywhere about its gaming capabilities. Not every game runs as well when undocked, so when you're carrying it around like a tablet. And yeah, there's quite a few different personal preferences on how to use it and all of that. But overall, it's one of the most attractive gaming options on the go. So if gaming is your focus, that's where I would recommend spending your money. There's a few disappointments with it. Among other things, as you see, there's no Netflix, there's no YouTube or anything like that. Rumor is that this is coming, which is good news, definitely, especially since my earliest memory of watching Netflix on a TV was on the Wii. So the fact that Nintendo blocked any video watching apps from being available on their store at first was a little disappointing there. But apparently this is coming. Thank you for finding me attractive. Spares raise my ego a little bit. And yeah, that's an adjective I use quite often to describe different electronics too. I'll have to widen my vocabulary a little bit, but yeah, right now I'm gonna go with attractive. Uh, ah, serious show. Yeah, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be that serious, to be honest. The main point of this show is to, well, open the door to question, comments, and anything really. It's those are my open office hours, so y- I'm fine with jokes and humor. Definitely not off the menu. So dancing. I'm the way my camera's set up right now. Yeah, I'm pretty much stuck on my chair, and my place is a mess. So that's why it's restricted the way it is. So no, no dancing. Not a dancer. I'll have to put a pass on this one. Okay. Laptops. If you don't have much money to spend on one, this option from Amazon is still holding up at the same price it was yesterday. It's got a 1080p screen on it, so it's a valid option for multitaskers that either don't have a desk to set up or need to be able to multitask on the go. um, And yeah, at only $650, it's pretty attractive in terms of pricing right now. You get quite a bit for the money that well. It's kind of the price I like to see for a 1080p laptop. Sometimes I've even managed to get it cheaper than that, but it's not often. So yeah, if you don't have a lot of money to spend, this is kind of a nice it's one of the nice spots that you can get in terms of what kind of hardware you can expect and all of that. Doesn't have the fastest hard drive in it, so you might want to pass if you're, how would I say, if you're allergic to loading bars or anything like that. But yeah, this is definitely something worth considering. Even though I haven't found any places, physical brick and mortar store that actually carries this specific laptop. But you can get it with a free delivery from Amazon Prime, so I say it's worth a look. And in terms of what it's capable of, you already get a 1-star rating for Fortnite, which means it meets minimal requirements to play the game. Don't expect anything mind-blowing out of it or anything like that, but at least it will run. And keep in mind that the Nintendo Switch was $200 cheaper. So again, if gaming is your focus right now, probably not the best pick, but you get nice versatility for the price. Yeah, no touchscreen on this one either or anything like that. It's just an interesting laptop for, homework, browsing the web, enjoying things like that, Word, Excel, and more, because you've got a screen that's good enough to do quite a few creative things in there. So yeah, if it's a laptop for the family or something like that, you've got several creative options open, so that family members can experiment with that. So pretty good introductory laptop for the family at large, without investing heavily in gaming or very graphically intensive stuff. And speaking of graphically intensive stuff, we can invest a little bit more. Actually, that is a pretty attractive price for a gaming laptop, especially if you're willing to get it open box online from Best Buy right now. which is the cheapest way to get it. Yeah, it's not going to earn you any bragging rights or anything like that to play video games, but you have graphic dedicated hardware in there, which is going to open several doors, even in programs like Photoshop, Premiere, that sort of stuff, that are going to take advantage of having that kind of hardware presence in there. The downside of it is that you get a much thicker, heavier laptop, which is going to drain batteries much faster than a smaller, more humble laptop. So, yeah, if you're going to travel around with a gaming laptop, you will just expect that you will be looking for power outlets everywhere you go, simply because those things are not power efficient. They're high performance beasts, but they're not that great at lasting a long time on battery power. If that's a big factor for you, you might want to have separate hardware for gaming and doing the rest of your work. And if you do the whole thing on the go, then yeah, if you don't hate the idea of the Switch is still a valid option again. Oh yeah, gaming is a top priority sometimes. Just depends. Not everybody needs a computer to do to work on. Sometimes it's purely meant for enjoyment, browsing the web and all of that, and owning fools. And yeah, in terms of what it's able to run, we get a 2-star on Fortnite, so not quite recommended specs yet. And even Premiere were not excelling yet on this, but still you're going to benefit from the extra hardware there. You get better performance overall in several games, and Planet Coaster is even on the menu, and that is a pretty demanding game. It's just so ambitious that optimization is not that strong on it. So it's already a game that's pretty hard to run, that you can run for under $1,000 with this specific laptop. Again, at the expense of mobility and battery endurance there. And speaking of battery endurance, one of the interesting options that one might have would be the Microsoft Surface Book. So definitely a premium product there. Those things feels really good, and this specific model isn't that strong. So the fact that you have a pressure sensitive stylus on there is not necessarily going to open that many options for an artist, but you can definitely use it as a mobile sketching tablet or something like that, and that allows you to work directly in Photoshop on the go, even though it's not necessarily at a very recommended setting. You're not going to work on high-res Photoshop documents with a crazy amount of layers in it. And obviously, the harder you work your laptop, the faster you're going to drain your batteries. But this one is fairly efficient, can last a long time without connecting it to power. And rinse does fall off as you get older. Yes, experienced that myself too. And now it's a downer kind of stream. Thanks, Bear. But yeah, if you have to travel, don't have the opportunity to connect and charge your device all over the place, this is a pretty good pick for anyone that spends a lot of time in meeting, or even have to, create quotes and work on the road. It's a pretty good model for that. And with the premium feel that comes with the Microsoft Surface brand, you're definitely going to look good doing it too. And can run quite a bit of thing. Obviously, if you run Fortnite on it, don't expect the battery to last too long. But it's an option if you have to, keep yourself entertained during your break or at the hotel or anything like that. That's one thing that you've got a few options open to you, even though you cannot go crazy about it yet. The stylus option is interesting for creative tasks, but as I said, it's not necessarily very strong. So we get 3 stars for Paint Tool Psi if you use that for illustrations, which is pretty good. You want to manage your storage space wisely, simply because it doesn't have a huge hard drive. But yeah, it's definitely an option for doing illustrations on the go and stuff like that. As as long as you don't necessarily go crazy on resolution or the number of layers. But yeah, Guild Wars, we get 2 stars there. Microsoft Word exceeds minimal requirements. Recommended requirements. So you're almost a degree of uncommon level of mastery for Word and Excel. So for work, this is a very good option already at this level of performance. And yeah, it's just a little bit over $1,000, which is extremely rare for the Surface Book series, which is a pretty premium line. And unlike the Surface tablets, the Surface Book come with the all the bells and whistle you expect, like the keyboard, which is an option on the tablet and not included. So that's definitely something about the Surface Book line that I appreciate personally. No surprise expense when you go to the store to pick it up. If you need something that is even stronger, I'm pretty sure this week this is the strongest laptop I picked. So for gaming and visually intensive tasks like video editing or the Adobe Creative Suite or that sort of thing, and that you want to invest in that pretty heavily, this laptop here might be your best option. We're looking at $1,400 new, but online only over at Best Buy. Right now, they have a deal on the new model that they don't even have on the open box alternative. So I would definitely go new. And still, hardware-wise, it doesn't go too high yet. It's got a very good amount of RAM, so you can do several things at the same time very well. That's a strong CPU as well, so streaming is an option in several areas, as long as you don't go crazy on, as long as you don't play very demanding games. This is going to be fine for that. Again, the usual downsides of gaming laptop apply, so carrying this around might become a little bit of a pain over time. Used to work at university, and the amount of 20-something-year-old with back problems was pretty surprising. So don't necessarily think that because you're young and strong and endurance and all of that, you can carry a heavy laptop all day long without consequences. So yeah, if you have to do that compromise and fit all your needs in a single device, it's one of the most capable one. You just expect that, yeah, you're going to jump from power outlet to power outlet during the day, simply because that performance comes at the cost of power efficiency. But in terms of what it's able to run, we finally hit the 3-star level for Adobe Premiere Pro. 3 stars is pretty much what it tells us that we meet recommended specs according to the software developer. So 3-star is very good. 5-star is you're exceeding expectations. You can do you can do outstanding thing with that software if you choose to. But 3-star is fine for most people. So you've got potentially a mobile editing station in this one. Probably wouldn't go higher than 1080p on this simply because the screen itself is 1080p, so obviously editing 4K you wouldn't see the difference. But yeah, for the creative on the go that needs a powerful workstation, or even if you want to play quite a bit of games in there, you've got 2 stars on PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds or Fortnite. So if you've got a Battle Royale fix, it's not bad. 2 stars, not too bad. And you've got 3 stars in lots of places, including World of Warcraft and more. So 4 stars Subnautica or 5 stars on The Sims. So you've got quite a few things in there, although it doesn't cover the very hardcore kind of games. You start really paying a premium when you try to achieve those level of performance, and I didn't notice any kind of deals that would push me to recommend a laptop of that stature this week. So maybe sometime in the future, if that's something that if you want to play the latest, most badass games, like let's say the upcoming Doom. Otherwise, back in the very portable workstation, we've got a 13-inch Ultrabook here that you can get from under $1,500 from Microsoft itself. So if you have a Microsoft store in your area, you can even pick it up from the store instead of buying it online if you're more comfortable buying it that way. You've got a small hard drive on this one, but I've seen several people storing their entire library of family photos and stuff like that on a 128 gigabyte hard drive like this one. It's just that, yeah, it's not ideal for that sort of thing, but for working and basically doing work away from your desk, this is a very good alternative too. You don't get tablet options that you would get with the Surface Book that we covered earlier. It's a bit more powerful though, so if you need to you work with very complex Excel documents, or even need to have some work with some graphical application just to show visual products to clients and stuff like that, this might be a better pick. And at 13-inch, it's very easy to log around. It's got great battery life on it as well. So yeah, if you need to get stuff done while you're away from your desk, whether it's meeting with building codes for clients and stuff like that, this is definitely worth looking into. And this is what kind of programs you can expect to run on it and how well. This list is obviously based on what is currently in demand on the TechAdvisor.ca website. So I don't even think... Yeah, Word is showing on the list. Good. But yeah, it basically is... yeah, I consider Microsoft Word an essential, but even then, essential basically acts as something that helps a program show up higher in the list. But the truth is, people are looking at playing, let's say, Guild Wars 2 a lot more than running Microsoft Word, or at least among my viewers. So, if you wonder why Fortnite is the first thing on the list for a work laptop, well, that's the reason. And yes, that laptop can run Fortnite. Most thing can, really. Otherwise, if you're looking for a computer for your desk, we've got quite a few options. For desk-bound computers, I've got computers which are both either much cheaper than what was available for laptop in the previous list. I've got also options which are a lot more powerful, and though desktop computers tends to be a little bit more interesting long term, especially for the high performance device, simply because, well, especially if you play games, you will want to replace your graphics card probably in, you will need to probably in 3 years. So that means that in the laptop where the graphics card is essentially soldered to the motherboard, in 3 years you will need to replace the entire laptop. If you buy the desktop computer with the exact same specs, well, in 3 years you just slap in a $150 cards into your existing computer and you keep on trucking for 3 more years easy. So definitely a lot of savings available to you by going the desktop route, especially if you're a gamer. But if you're not a gamer and what you are instead is definitely strapped on for cash, there's great refurbished options. And in this case, it's the HP 8200 Elite. Those things were work computers back in the day, and they've been, basically companies got rid of them, part of their evergreen policy and stuff like that. But they're still pretty good computers. And especially for the price you can get them for, that's something I would definitely recommend, especially if you definitely need to make the most of every single dollar you spend right now. So yeah, if dollar efficiencies is your priority, that would probably be my pick right now. If you cannot get a desk or anything like that, one option you have is to hook this up to your television, and that way you can basically just get wireless mouse and keyboard and work in the living room. So if you really want to stretch your money as far as you can, it's something you can do with this model here. Or if you just need a cheap laptop for the kids' homework and stuff like that, that's definitely a valid option for that too. Fortnite for the win, indeed. Non-gamers don't exist, they are like unicorns. Actually, spares, that's true. That's absolutely true. I think the most recent survey I heard on the topic was that 92% of people under 20 admitted to playing video games during the week of the survey. So yeah, the term non-gamer doesn't really exist that much. It's just that a lot of people don't necessarily want to, at this point it's more of a label. People that play video games don't always want to label themselves gamers. That's the main definition. Yeah, that's the main distinction right now between a gamer and non-gamer. The non-gamer play games, they just don't necessarily will identify themselves to that activity at this point. But everybody play games. And I don't have every single game in my database yet, but well, probably ever. I just won't be able to keep up. But I definitely try to have the most popular one. And one thing that should be pretty easy to spot for this refurbished computer is that, yes, we don't meet Fortnite's minimal requirement here. So, as I said, it's not the most powerful thing out there. We've got 1 star for Excel, PowerPoint, Word, etc. So that's strong enough to get quite a bit of work done in Word and, the Office suite. You just won't be able to do very complex stuff or anything like that. So I would consider this model either as a short-term solution. If you don't currently make enough money for that, it's going to be enough for you to make a resume on and start looking for jobs and do the most common homework, have access to online entertainment fairly easily, social media and all that. So it's going to cover everyday need very well compared to, let's say, if you were to spend $250 on a laptop, you would not get something very good in comparison to this. And you've got a few entertainment options, just not the most interactive ones. So if you want to be one of the cool kids that play Fortnite, this probably is not the solution. If you're willing to pay a little bit more and get a new computer that, have more options open, especially if you want the options for creativity to be open for family members and stuff like that, this computer here is definitely worth a look there. We're still very, very far away from a gaming machine, but you hit a nice level of versatility at this price point this week. And yeah, Fortnite opens again because it's a pretty easy program to run. And you start seeing stuff opening for Adobe Premiere and so on. So you can experiment with it, just don't expect to do anything super fancy with creative programs, but yeah, Paint Tool side, you get 5 stars already. So if someone in the family likes to draw or stuff like that, an illustrator could go fairly far already with a computer this cheap. And you start seeing fairly good a fairly nice spread of creative and entertainment title in the list of software that is supported at this level. So you definitely have more options open to you, but it's 3 times the price of the refurbished computer I mentioned earlier. So depending on what your current situation is. And if we're starting to look for something a little bit more serious, this is a build from Memory Express, which is a computer shop that it's my favorite, a local computer shop. So they have stores here in Alberta. They're pretty popular in BC, started going in Manitoba as well. So they're slowly spreading, and right now I find that they're contributing to filling the gap that NCIX left when they went bankrupt. So if you've been following up on Canada retailers and what has been happening for, the bigger names in computer supplies in Canada, yeah, that's sadly one of the things that happened. And yeah, Memory Express has been expanding as a result of that. And yeah, I had a great time with them personally. One of my favorite retailers. So and one thing I really like about them is that they list computer builds, so I can offer them to you and present them essentially the same way I would with factory built system. except those are built to order. So even if you don't know anything about computer, what processor goes on what motherboard and stuff like that, they have those recommendations, and they are very good at listing everything in there, and I can see all the hardware that they're going to use for your build, and basically they build their computer pretty much the way I would myself, so I'm happy to recommend them. And this here is their one of their lower price gaming system. And yeah, you could definitely invest more than this on the graphic hardware in there, but the nice thing about this is that it's everything else is already very strong. You already have fast hard drive, you've got a solid state drive for your critical data. Processor is already really good at this point, so the only quote-unquote weak point here is the graphics card. So if you're a little strapped for cash right now, you cannot invest as much as you'd like on a gaming system. The thing is, you can replace the graphics card in this easily compared to most of the alternatives. The power supply on this is strong enough to take it easily, as long as you don't go crazy and put, you know, SLI in there or anything like that. It's definitely not built for that, but just replacing your 1050 Ti by a 1080, yeah, you can definitely do that. And yeah, everything else is already pretty much capped off and as good as I would recommend going right now. It's everything in there is very good for gaming, and it is going to be for years to come. So yeah, it's a very good a good starting point, and I would easily wait 3 years with that kind of hardware, and then maybe, as I said, slap a $150 card in 3 years in there, and yeah, have a really nice gaming experience for years in this. And yeah, that's definitely the main benefit of buying something that is built to order. Working those computers and doing upgrade is going to be as easy as it gets. And yeah, right off the bat, you've got 4 stars in Fortnite, so exceeding recommended specs. And I mean, most stuff in there runs very well. The lowest point, yeah, Planet Coaster, as I described, hard to run. Ark Survival Evolved, same kind of deal. That game is a little tougher on hardware. So we only hit minimal requirements still on this one, because after all, it's only a 1050 Ti in there. NBA 2K18, we get 2 stars, so pretty good. But yeah, overall, very capable. Most things are most options are way open to you. Only the most hardcore / worst optimized games are where you're going to suffer a little bit with this build, but even then, not by a huge amount. If you want to invest a little bit more and get a GTX 1060, it's only $150 more to invest, so a pretty solid investment. And let me just compare something real quick. Yeah, you get a small boost on the CPU as well, but everything else is pretty similar. So still a very good pick for long-term gamer, serious gamer, and you do open several options much wider in this case. We only have one game still running at 2 stars, and that's Planet Coaster. But otherwise, yeah, everything is at least running at recommended specs right now. So you're not going to have much games that are not running at very good frame rates at 1080p there. And if you want to invest a little bit more, especially if you want to play tonight, actually, no, not from those retailers, but basically, if you don't want to get one built for you, this Omen 880 gaming laptop is available at a pretty attractive price from Amazon, and yeah, I think it's free delivery on this as well. And the specs on this are already pretty good. Usually in a factory built system, you're going to have a smaller power supply and fewer expansion option on the motherboard. So upgrades in the future are definitely going to be possible, but maybe not as easy, or as, yeah, you're going to have to think about it or pay someone a little bit more to do the upgrades for you in the future, but nothing is really off the table in terms of upgrades with this one. So yeah, every once in a while those factory built systems get enough of a rebate that they definitely become worth considering. That's definitely one of them. And in terms of all you can run, well, everything is maxed out except Maya and Premiere Pro. Anyway, if you're making a living or doing stuff very hardcore with either of those two software, you probably would be interested in either getting an ATI Pro or a Quattro on the NVIDIA side of the fence anyway, because you might be looking at something where those extra feature might be, how would I say, worth seeking. But yeah, it's a build like this is already more than strong enough for most people at home, especially if you're not going to, you know, earn a living on that computer. And right now, yeah, you can get it for just shy over $700 from Amazon. So not a bad pick. Pretty comfortable recommending that one. So those were my recommendations this week. If you have any question after this stream or anything like that, feel free to ask on social media. All my social accounts are over there. And if you're currently in the process of looking for new gear, feel free to subscribe to my newsletter at the URL on screen right now. That way you can get my recommendations at around noon on standard mountain time. And that way you can get the list early. Also on Friday, I published the Tech Worth Buying video newsletter and publish that on pretty much every social media listed here. So subscribe to my Twitch. So follow me on Twitch. Yeah, no subscription yet. Or subscribe to my channel on YouTube to get notified of those if you really prefer the video. That the Friday video is only 2.5 minutes, so I can post it on Twitter. So it's easy to go through, it's fast and quick, and you can easily see what kind of deals are worth looking after depending on a week. And I do cover which user archetype is favored or disfavored at that point in time as well, so you can easily see if it's a weekend where you should start looking at different stores for a computer for you, or if you're better off, you know, waiting a little longer. So yeah, those were my recommendations this week. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye, everyone.